My name is Ian and welcome to my gardening channel, Planted. Now in this video I've got some new plants I want to introduce you to. I've also got some seeds that I want to sow, I've got some pruning, and I've also got a surprise with my outdoor hardy banana. Let's go. Please bear in mind that when you're choosing plants, they're not all available all the time. This is a grower called Landcraft Environments. This is a beautiful trailing antirrhinum, little pale creamy white flowers. I'll put this in a container, give it full sunshine, and it can cascade over the edge. And of course, I'll try and keep that through the winter. This is the ribbon plant, which talk about modified botanical interest. I just love that texture and that shadow. So that's going to get pride of place. Again, another plant from Landcraft. Landcraft really do grow beautiful plants. And this is a plant that I used to grow back in the 90s in England. This is the Melianthus major, or honey bush. They call it the honey flower. Has a burgundy flower, but its foliage is the reason that I grow it. I'm very happy to have that back in my collection. So those three plants came from Landcraft Environments. And then I found, while I was looking for those three, another salvia. This is not Amistad that I've done a video on. This is Bodacious, Smoky Jazz. It's new to me, looking forward to growing it. If it's half as floriferous as Amistad, I know I'll be happy. It might not get quite so tall, which could be a benefit. Now, in a previous video, I featured some footage of me looking at gardens in England. And this plant here is called Smyrnium. It's also called Yellow Alexanders. And what makes this special is that it's a biennial. So if you grow it, chances are you must buy seed and plant it in the ground. In its first year, it will put up a tiny little shoot and will be a little tuber in the ground. And if you go in there and mulch or you go in there and rake, you'll kill all those first generation plants. So I'm going to sow this seed and I'm marking it with stems from my fig tree, and hopefully I'll get a little crop come up this year, and then in future years I'll have something to share with you. Here you can see it, and the reason those markers are there is that you don't want to go in there and energetically start weeding the very thing that you're trying to grow. So I'm hopeful that I'll get a crop. Let's talk about figs. Now this is the remarkable Fig Olympia that took a real turn for the worse this year. Now the base is alive. I have no doubt that this plant will come back. We didn't have a very cold winter, but we did have a weekend where the temperature plummeted. And all of this branch work is dead. So it's all going to get cut back. I can do a chunk of it with my Felco clippers. It is quite hard and dry, but I'll have to come through here with some loppers to take off the rest. And here we have another fig. Now, I'm a big believer in observing plant growth, and there's a crack right there that indicates that this plant has dried out. So there's no shoots from where I am going up. And at some point, we probably will get shoots. Now, bearing in mind that this is middle of June, you'd think that if this plant was going to show any signs of life, you'd see it by now. And sure enough, there it is. We've got shoots at the very bottom. So sometimes you have to wait a long time for a plant to declare it's either alive or it's dead. And I have talked before about patience and being patient. This is a little update on the beautiful plant that is Cobea scandens. I grew these from seed, and I did a video on sowing them and then potting them up into these new pots. But I want to show you the application that I'm going to grow it in. Now I've got this plant in some very substantial containers, and the growth rate is remarkable. But what I like most of all, beyond the flowers, is the way this plant climbs. It puts out these little tendrils that kind of blow in the breeze. The minute they touch something, here I've got some fig stems, they latch hold, then they start twisting. And that is like a shock absorber. It pulls the plant to that area of support. And here we've got another one that's latched on. Plants really are amazing in their ability to grow. Just look at that spring. This is very exciting. Now I've talked about Musabasju many times before. It's a popular plant. This plant came through the winter beautifully. Some of the ragged leaves are the early leaves that came out. But look what we have here. This is going to flower. Now, this is not going to fruit, but it will be an enjoyable botanical adventure looking forward to seeing what the flower will look like and if it will become fully formed. So that is Musa Bajdu, the hardy banana. Here we have a close-up of the absolutely beautiful Regerzia. I featured this earlier. Here it is growing in all its glory with its beautiful palmate leaves and its beautiful flower. If you can imagine that with 30 large leaves and 10 flowers, you'll understand why I get excited by that plant. And I can't leave this video without featuring some of my Clematis. This is Clematis Ragucci, little Turk's cap flowers, beautiful color. And I'm not overly zealous with it. I don't overly train it. I will weave it in and out of my picket fence. And that just means that it starts to wrap around itself, and it obviously wraps around the fence. But this will put out flowers for many, many weeks. And if we go a little bit further on down the garden, we have this beautiful white with the purple center. Started flowering a few weeks ago, so some of the flowers have gone over. We have lots more flowers yet to come. It's like a shaft of sunlight in the garden at night. These flowers are very iridescent and stand out. And we've got lots more flowers yet to come. So if there's anything about this video, here we are in mid-June, gardening continues. You don't just plant in May and put your feet up. There's lots to do, lots to get on with. Bye for now.